blade came down in a flash, a slap so fierce it felt like lightning striking flesh. Amelia's cheek burned before her body followed, arcing backward until her bap slammed against the cool kitchen wall. She crumpled to the floor in a heap of pain and shock, her breath rattling in her chest. For a moment, the only sound was the thud of her body and the hum of the fridge. Then, through the shattered calm, came the raw snort of Medianoche, the old black bull pacing in his corral like a restless sentinel. What will happen next? Please, Enrique, don't do this again, Amelia murmured, her voice cracking like thin ice. Tears filled her eyes as she pressed her hands against her cheeks, tasting the metallic sting of new bruises. She tried to focus on the familiar features of her son, once the boy who laughed as he chased butterflies across these fields. But now, all she saw was a stranger with red-rimmed eyes and clenched fists. Could she still reach him? Enrique stalked back and forth, sweat beading on his forehead, his breath coming in ragged gasps. His hands trembled as though something inside had been gnawing at his skin. "You hiding something from me, Mum? You've got money here?" he hissed. He kicked a chair until it skidded across the tile and sent a glass shattering. Fragments tinkled like raindrops on the floor. Was there anything left of the gentle son she once knew? Through the kitchen window, Medianoche raised his massive head, his dark eyes, so large and wet, fixed on the house with unsettling awareness. At the stroke of midnight, a single, guttural bellow rolled across the empty farm like a drumbeat in the still night. The wind paused. The crickets fell silent. In that moment, all three lives hung in the hush. Would the bull intervene? Enrique lunged at his mother again, fist cocked. "I want money, not sermons," he roared. The slap this time sent Amelia spinning against the refrigerator, her limbs trembling, her spirit crumbling. Each strike carved ache deeper into her bones. Each gasp stole another piece of her will. And all the while, Medianoche stamped his hooves, a slow, steady rhythm of foreboding. How much more could she endure? Driven by a gnawing emptiness, Enrique yanked open cupboards, scattering dishes and clothes like autumn leaves. He tugged drawers free until they lay in splinters, revealing nothing but dust and old linens. Amelia, clutching a bloodied napkin to her nose, whispered, "There's nothing left, just this house." But he only sneered. "You're saving it for that useless beast," he cursed, barreling through the back door toward the corral. Was she truly powerless here? A memory slipped into Amelia's pain. Her husband, guiding Medianoche along the dusty lanes. She remembered the bull's gentle sway under his call, the rhythmic clip-clop of hooves, and the way her husband's hand rested on the animal's broad back as he counted their earnings. "This money will pay for our son's future," he promised, voice warm with pride. Tonight, that promise felt like shards under her skin. What had become of that bright tomorrow? Back in the kitchen, Enrique emerged with a thick-bladed knife. Its cold steel glinted in the lantern light, a silent threat in his outstretched hand. Amelia's heart hammered. "Don't make me lie, Mummy." He growled. He took a step forward, lips curled with a cruel smile. She tried to rise, legs trembling beneath her, but pain folded her back into the chair. Would he truly hurt her? Suddenly, the door burst open with a thunderous crash. The heavy wooden frame shattered inwards, and in strode Medianoche, no mere animal now, but a dark avenger. Each hoofful cracked against the planks like gunfire. He pushed through the shards of door, horns lowered. Determination in every line of his massive form. Enrique froze, knife midair, as if seeing a ghost. Could this be her salvation? With one earth-shaking impact, Medianoche leveled Enrique against the wall. Wood groaned under the force, dust dancing in the lantern light. Enrique dropped the knife, grimacing as blood welled from a fresh cut on his shoulder. He struggled to rise, but the bull's hulking presence pinned him in place. Who was king here now? Enrique recovered the knife in a desperate rush and slashed at the bull's flank. Medianoche bellowed deep and thunderous, but he did not retreat. Another strike and blood bloomed along his side. Yet still the bull stood firm, muscles coiling like springs. Then, with monumental resolve, he rammed Enrique again, this time tossing him across the sofa cushions. The knife clattered to the floor, forgotten. Had humanity and beast become one in this moment? Amelia watched from the doorway, tears carving clean lines down her cheeks. She saw her son, crumpled, knife at his side, eyes wide with shock and fear. And there between them stood Medianoche, noble despite his wounds, protector despite his own suffering. Would her son ever forgive her? The bull stepped aside, allowing Amelia to approach. She sank to her knees beside Enrique, gunmetal silence thick in the air. He looked up at her, eyes glistening. "Are you going to shoot me, Mom?" he whispered. The question trembled between them. "No, Enrique," she said softly, voice trembling like the autumn leaves outside. "You killed me long ago when you stopped seeing me as your mother." Her words stung like nettles. Behind them, the dark outline of the barn loomed. Then, sirens sliced through the night, a shrill promise of help miles away. Lights spilled across the broken porch, illuminating shards of glass and the sticky patina of blood on the floorboards. 2 officers stepped inside, guns lowered as they took in the scene. Enrique, kneeling, head bowed. Amelia, clutching the shotgun, and Medianoche, silent and solemn, a living monument to their pain. "Drop the weapon, ma'am," one called gently. Amelia let the gun slip from her fingers. It thudded onto the floor, echoing like a closing chapter. Was this the end, or a new beginning? Outside, the patrol car's red and blue glow pulsed against the dark trees. Amelia rose slowly, every movement an echo of the agony she'd endured. She approached Medianoche and lay a trembling hand on his matted coat. He lowered his head, and she murmured, "You always understood me more than anyone else." Her voice was rough but tender, a fragile bridge across years of solitude. Could love truly heal such wounds? With careful hands, she led him to the barn, lantern swinging at her side. She cleaned his lacerations with gentle precision, rinsing the blood, pressing cloths soaked in alcohol, murmuring apologies and thanks under her breath. The bull stood patiently, eyes half closed in trust. It felt like a ritual of atonement, an unspoken vow sealed in sweat and tears. What future awaited them both? When the first rays of dawn brushed the horizon, Amelia stepped back and assessed her work. Medianoche's flank was still raw, but tended with care. She smiled, a tentative curve that spoke of resilience. "You saved me tonight," she whispered, as if confessing a secret to the rising sun. He snuffled, leaning into her hand. And for the first time in years, she believed that somewhere beneath the bruises and the blood, hope still remained. Maybe you know someone surviving in silence, as Amelia did. Maybe this story stirred memories you thought long buried. If so, leave a like, subscribe and share. It might reach someone who needs to hear it now. And tell me, where in the world are you listening from? Until next time, stay safe, and remember, even in the loneliest places, someone or something is listening. Amelia spent the next hours beside Medianoche, humming softly as she wrapped fresh bandages around his wounds. Each careful movement felt like stitching her own frayed heart back together. The barn was warm with hay and lantern light, but outside, the world was dark and vast. She paused, leaning her forehead against the bull's broad shoulder, and listened to his steady breathing. In that moment, fear and anger seemed distant memories. When the sun finally peeked over the horizon, a pale gold filled the stall. Amelia guided Medianoche outside, his steps tentative but sure. She held his lead rope in one hand and a battered coffee thermos in the other, the steam curling into the cool morning air. She set it down beside him and murmured encouragement. As he drank, she allowed herself to breathe deeply for the first time in days. Police cars and an ambulance had long since departed. The yard was quiet apart from birdsong and the soft sigh of the wind through the trees. Amelia stood a little straighter, noticing the battered gate and the broken chair legs strewn across the gravel. Each one told a story of fear and violence, but now they stood as relics of survival. She reached into her pocket and pulled out an old photograph. Her husband and young Enrique both laughing atop Medianoche's back. Time had softened the edges of the moment, but the joy still shone through. Amelia set the photo in the barn door, where the morning light could illuminate it. "We'll find our way back," she whispered, brushing a tear away. Over the next days, word spread through the village. Neighbours came by with bandages, food, and quiet words of solidarity. A local vet arrived to check Medianoche's recovery, nodding approvingly at his progress. Amelia found herself talking openly for the first time, about fear, about loss, about the slow journey toward forgiveness. Late one afternoon, she led Medianoche to the pasture. where wildflowers brushed his legs and soft grass gave under his hooves. He lifted his head, inhaling the scent of freedom. Amelia smiled, her own chest feeling light. The horizon stretched wide before them, and though the path ahead was uncertain, she no longer felt alone. With every gentle nudge of the bull's muzzle against her arm, she knew that healing had truly begun, and that together they could face whatever came next.